Siddur Snippets is generously sponsored by the Saka family and by Yelad Avram Foreman for a Shlema Hadassah Racha Bas Chana Golda. We are still on the introduction to the bracha of Modim, the 18th bracha of the Amida. A bracha so central, the Mishnah Berurah says, if we only concentrate on Modim, we can minimally fulfill the mitzvah of concentrating for the entire Amida. We began last night speaking about the practice of bowing for Modim, and how the Gemara in Baba Kama, Tosos there says, Mida keneged Mida, if a person doesn't bow properly for Modim, their spine turns into a snake. 7 years after we die, the spine turns into a snake. And we've been discussing, what's the Mida keneged Mida? What does one thing have to do with the other? And we mentioned the luz bone. There's a bone underneath the brain and the stem cell in the spinal, brain stem rather, in the spine, which was an indestructible bone, the luz bone. And the degree to which Chazal tell us a person eats malava malka, the luz bone is preserved, or if a person bows for modim, the luz bone is preserved. And we mentioned Tchias HaMesim, the resurrection, the rebuilding, reforming of a person happens from that luz bone. So several people contacted me. It's nice to know people actually listen to Siddur Snippets online as well. Several people contacted me and said, what does that mean? During the Holocaust, those who were cremated, God forbid, somebody who's not educated, doesn't have a strong Jewish education today, who makes the unfortunate, tragic choice of cremation, they won't be resurrected. There is no luz bone. They're incinerated. So of course, certainly when it comes to the Kedoshim, the martyrs of the Holocaust, or more recently, they're next to the Kisei HaKavod. Kadosh Baruch Hu, we have no doubt, will bring them back. They are the highest. They are the Kedoshim. Those who have no background, those who didn't know better, Tinok Shenishba. Similarly, we believe Hashem has pity, Hashem has Rachmanas. Someone's not held accountable if they didn't know better. But the image should inspire us that we want to preserve that luz bone, to be reformed, to be reborn from it in Tchias HaMesim. And somehow Chazal tell us that this corresponds with whether we bow during Modim. So we mentioned last night, Rabbi Yonasan Eibshad says, what is Modim, the snake? What does one thing have to do with the other? The whole idea of Modim, and the reason we bow, to be modeh is to admit, and to be modeh is to be grateful. And the whole Amida is a platform for turning to Hashem and surrendering and submitting and bowing and deferring and saying, Hashem, I make all my effort in the world. I take all the initiative that I can. I have big dreams and big goals, but in the end of the day, I surrender to you. I submit to you. In the end of the day, I let go, let God. In the end of the day, you're in charge and you're in control. In the end of the day, you are the senior partner of everything I do. And that's why 3 times a day, in between all the effort that I make, where we start our day, and then mincha in the middle of the day, and marav at the end of the day, 3 times during a day, I stop and I say, my day is filled with my initiative and my effort, but I interrupt 3 times, beginning, middle, and end, to say, Hashem, with all my effort, I depend on you, I rely on you, I defer to you, I surrender to you, I submit to you. And the way we demonstrate that, the way we articulate that, the way we communicate that is not only with our lips, but with our demeanor, with our posture, when we bow. And the proper way to bow is to bow at the waist, and then with the head, to first come up with the head, and then the rest of the body to follow. Each of the vertebrae, one by one, to engage the entire spine, to engage the entire back, my entire being. Hashem is communicating and demonstrating. I defer, I submit, I surrender to you. Shner Color Zatzal understood the Mida Keneged Mida. Why Chazal say, if you don't bow properly for Modim, your spine turns into a snake, a nachash. Koach nachash ulahafred is Adam Hashem. The whole essence, the whole mission of the snake, the original snake, going back to Gan Eden, was to create distance between us and Hashem. The nachash said to Chava, V'yisem kelokim, eat this. One thing we know, it wasn't an apple. Eat the Eitz Hadas, whatever it was, an esrog, a fig, wheat, whatever it was. Eat this Eitz Hadas, and you'll be like a god. You'll be a deity. You could compete with the King of Kings. The whole effort, the whole initiative of the snake, the whole mission was to seduce Chava, and through Chava, Adam, and all of us, to live a life where we feel I'm independent. I don't need God. I make my effort, I take my initiative, I'm in charge, I'm in control, I'm responsible, I'm to credit with all my success. The whole mission of that snake was to create a pirut, a distance, a break, a barrier between us and Hashem. We know before that tragic error in Gan Eden, the snake stood upright, walked upright. And its punishment was to slither on its belly. So what does that mean? To stand upright, we can only stand upright when we believe and attach ourselves to Hashem. What gives us that energy, that koach, that confidence to confront the world and stand upright? When we defer, when we surrender to Hashem, that He is in charge. But when a person thinks they're independent, when a person arrogantly thinks they are in charge, they in control, they don't have to defer, they don't have to bow to Hashem, then Hashem sends them on their belly, slithering around, connected to the ground. They don't have that capacity to stand upright. Indeed, the Chidush HaRim says, what was the punishment of the snake? Chava suffers through childbirth. Before the epidural, but Chava suffered through childbirth. They say in Boca, you know what natural child... I'm going to get in trouble for this. You know what natural childbirth is in Boca? To give birth without your makeup on. That's natural childbirth. Okay, anyway, we'll find out. We're about to find out how many women listen to Siddur Snippets. Okay, everybody relax. So I said I'm about to find out how many women listen to Siddur Snippets. So the women suffered, and men had to eat by the sweat of their brow, had to work the land. We have to go to work. There's no epidural for going to work. We have to go to work. And what was the punishment of the snake? It ate from the dust of the ground and had all the food it would ever need. The Chidush HaRim wonders, that's a punishment? Someone hands you a credit card and says, unlimited, buy, enjoy whatever you want, you're good to go. That's a punishment? Many would welcome such a punishment. It says the Chidush HaRim, you know why it's a punishment? Because if Hashem says, here's everything you'll ever need, you have no reason to ever talk to me. We don't need a relationship, you don't have to talk to me, you don't rely on me, you don't depend on me, you don't need me. We give our kids, when they go to the year in Israel, here's a debit card, not a credit card. You know why a debit card? Because when it runs out, you're guaranteed to get a phone call. We need more. Could you put more on the card? Could you put more on the card? A parent who loves a child and wants to hear from a child gives a debit card. The parent who doesn't really care about the relationship says, here's an unlimited amount, enjoy, see you next year. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu punished a snake by saying there's an unlimited, whatever you want. I don't need to hear from you. We don't have to have a relationship at all. That's the bechina of the nachash of the snake. And when a person doesn't bow, when a person doesn't defer, when a person doesn't surrender, when a person is not interested in a relationship, then their spine comes back as a snake. Say Chazal, Gemara Baba Kama, and Tosfos there. So with that is the end of our introduction to Modim. We'll begin to get into the words themselves. But Modim is huge. It's huge. Bracha number 18, it's huge. Minimally having kavanah for Modim, says the Mishnah Berurah, can cover us for the whole Amida if we don't pay attention to any other part, because it is the foundation, is the essence, to admit, to be grateful, to acknowledge that everything we need comes from Him. We say it with our words, and we say it with our spine, every vertebrae in it, and bow. We'll continue and pick up tomorrow night, if I am still here and survive that joke.